Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Screen Junkies Movie Fights, powered by the Popcorn Talk Network. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Movie Fights. This is an exciting one. I'm so excited. We have 3 people on today that you've been asking for. Believe it or not, this is very exciting to me. I'm so glad we got them all on. Today we have George Lucas. Should he be involved in Star Wars? An article went about that his ideas for the new franchise aren't being used. Is that a good thing? We will fight that out. Also, best movie from 1995. Its 20th anniversary of the year. Let's talk about it. Also, best use of product placement in a film. So much more fun, exciting stuff that we're going to battle. So please stay tuned. And as always, the last fight is a tease for this week's Honest Trailer. So stay tuned to the end. I have to thank our friends here at Popcorn Talk Network, Schmoes Know Network. Go check out all the shows on all those podcasts on Schmoes Know, Meet the Movie Press, all these fun stuff. We love them. We're so happy to be here, and please go support them. Links in the description below. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, just know you can pick your fight. Bottom right corner, click it. If you don't find a fight interesting, you can go to the next one. Don't just leave. How nice is that? It's interactive. And if you're listening on iTunes, please subscribe. If you're not listening on iTunes, go subscribe there as well. I got all that out of the way, and that was fast, right on time. So let's get to who's here today. Again, you've asked for all 3 of these people. One's been here before, but he hasn't been here in a little bit, so he's back. But first up, you know her from SourceFed and SourceFed Nerd. It's Trisha Hershberger.
Hi, guys. Dude, Andy, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to fight probably some fairly unpopular opinions today.
I love it.
But that makes it more fun.
Bring it. Next to her, you know her from her amazing YouTube channel. It's Comic Book Girl 19.
Hi, I'm here.
I'm so excited to have you here. Thanks for coming. I know this is early. Thank you for being here. All of you, everybody.
Coffee.
It's a little early for movie fights, but I'm ready though. I've been ready. I was watching them
I've been
last
up since
night.
3 in the morning.
Been like,
You've been training? I love it.
was like tweeting about how I was tweeting about how I was gonna punch you guys in the dicks today. Actually.
Woohoo! You ready,
Not
Nick?
the first time.
Me too, right?
Yes.
I don't want to be left out.
No.
Okay,
Phantom Dick, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dick punch.
Speaking of dicks, it's Nick Mundy!
That's the best intro you've given me. That's the best intro. Welcome. I can't wait to fight against you. I apologize in advance for the name calling and just the general. Also, I'd like to say I'm getting that belt. I'm taking your belt. I'm literally going to break into your house.
He's queuing up. Who's on the fan cam? It's undisputed champion of movie fights, Dan Murrell. Is it 5-0?
5-0. It's great to see some new guests on the show. Hello, Nick.
I'm going to make you cry.
What'd you do to undermine me this week? Did you drain the battery out of my computer?
Last week, for those who don't know, Nick Mundy trained Jason off the record on Twitter how to get under Dan Murrell's skin so he could beat him on last week's fight, which then we found out about. So it was pretty dirty, wouldn't you say, Dan?
How'd that work out for you, Nick?
It set you up with confidence in that belt, so
Right.
I can take it.
There you go.
We'll see.
Wow, a lot of heat here, and they're not even fighting today. But maybe in a few weeks we'll see.
Maybe I just run
let's
over there
worry
and
about this right now, Nick. You got 2 new awesome people to
true.
fight.
Hubris will get me today.
And it's awesome to have 2 ladies on the panel.
I'm literally-
We're
I'm
not
scared.
treating you as ladies today. We got to all go out,
Okay.
Nick. Don't hold back. Don't hold back to Nick. Let's do this right. Yes, are we all excited?
Yes.
Totally.
I love it. All right, in the great words
go to
of
hell.
Odin, father of Thor.
We will fight!
Still need to get
I don't know about that one.
I don't know. I think.
Fuck that one. We're trying new fight.
Just get the Mortal
setups.
Kombat song.
All right,
And a
round
police
1.
Fatality.
Yeah.
Round 1. Here we are. Tom Hardy dropped out of Suicide Squad. They're looking for a replacement. Apparently now Jake Gyllenhaal is also out of the running. He passed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That last night broke. So the question is, which is from Sleepy Zebra on Twitter. That's a good name. Sleepy Zebra. Aw. Fight number 1. Which comic book character in a movie already released could have been better if they had recast the role? Who would you have cast instead? Does that make sense? So movies that have already been out, comic book characters were in honor of Comic Book Girl, and obviously just our show, which we love these. Which comic book movie person would we recast, and who would you put in? All right, makes sense. Trisha, who you're up first?
Okay, great. I'm recasting Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Not so much as Spider-Man as Peter Parker. I think he's a horrible Peter Parker. Emo and skateboard does not a socially awkward wallflower make. If Peter
Have you not
Parker's-
met emo kids?
If Peter Parker is smooth with the ladies already, we see no transition when he puts on the Spidey mask. I think that I would recast him with Eddie Redmayne because he's a brilliant actor. We know he can do the nerdy thing, and because he's such a good actor, I believe the comedic timing would be there for Spidey's funny.
He's also 30.
You don't like skateboarding to Coldplay songs?
He looks really young.
But you can't keep that going, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a problem. Like,
in his second movie.
All right. But tell us who you picked.
All right, I picked Halle Berry as Storm. I have always hated Halle Berry as Storm. I just cannot stand her in this role. I heard apparently that Storm has finally been recast last night.
Last night, who was it, Dan?
The actress name is Alexandra Shipp.
Do any of us know who she is?
She was Aaliyah.
She was Aaliyah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't watch Aaliyah, but I saw
I watched it.
the posters.
She's going to be in the Straight Outta Compton biopic.
I can't
For her,
Exactly.
because she's got scored a few. All right, good. But
TV,
who are you? Who would you have selected?
Well, I mean, just anybody. like just a no-name actress would be good, because I feel like Storm is such an iconic character that you don't need, like Storm is bigger than Halle Berry, and she will live longer than Halle Berry, okay? So Halle Berry bringing her crap into Storm is like, no, bitch, sit down. It's all about Storm. You need to get somebody who's in there who's dedicated, who wants to do
you want
it, who
someone regal
understands
and
it.
beautiful, like Halle
I love that.
Berry.
Like,
Absolutely.
Think over the thing.
Well,
As we're
Lupita would
Okay, there we
be
go.
great, because she is just, she looks so beautiful. She looks so African. She's so amazing. I just love her look.
How old would have Lupita been when X-Men first came out? Could we? I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
strikes me as
Lupita
like
today and X-Men then. That's what we're counting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nick, who would you pick?
Okay, he's been the King of the Lions. He's led the Empire against Star Wars. James Earl Jones as Thanos for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
So no Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin's a great actor, but I don't need Branch from Goonies to be the bad guy, to be the Marvel Hitler.
And he doesn't have the voice, I feel
No,
like,
he doesn't.
either.
No,
Like,
thank you. Like, not only the voice. Here's the thing. The worst part of Guardians was probably the Thanos scene. It had bad CGI. He was kind of like smiley, like, hey, I'm going to be the cool guy again, which is Marvel's bad guy problem. Like, but you need someone menacing and intimidating and someone who looks like he's going to F up.
You don't feel like
You're welcome.
minus the CGI, Brolin has that look?
No, because you don't need CGI. You just paint James Earl Jones purple, you let his natural voice do it, and then he's just gonna, like, kick the balls out of everything. I mean, he is a perfect guy. He is scary as hell.
He's
Watch
got
Field
the
of
voice,
Dreams.
man.
He is awesome, and he would be intimidating as hell in the Marvel Universe.
I still think they would have CGI ruined him.
No,
Even
I don't
James
think so.
Earl Jones.
You don't need to. It's just let him be there. Maybe don't. I mean, just put him in a sweater. I mean, he's still menacing. I mean, he's the scariest, most intimidating guy out there, and that, I mean, you don't even have to modulate his voice. Thanos' voice sounds auto-tuned.
But would it have been distracting to have Darth Vader be Thanos?
No, because you know what? Darth Vader, I knew you were going to say that. It's just his voice. I'm talking about the entire presence of James Earl Jones. His body
But
language.
his voice is the
his
most
voice,
iconic thing
but it's
about
also
him, right?
going to be probably a different timbre. His voice from CNN is different than Lion King to different Star Wars. I'm sure he would affect it in some way. That doesn't bother me. It's just the power in the voice is what's important.
What do you guys think?
I agree.
I like Brolin's look for Thanos. I'll agree. The CGI totally messed with it, but I do think he has that.
And Halle Berry, like, look, the thing about Halle Berry is she was good in the X-Men movies. And it progressively got better. Not everyone had it. Like, James Marsden was great in the movie. Not everyone has, like, their big moments in that movie. I thought she did a great job in it. That accent in the first one.
Yeah. She just,
that was one
way.
Yeah, but I don't, like, but think about casting that movie, especially then, who else would, it was the best
She
pick.
played it so weak. Like, that Storm to me was so weak sauce. Like, Storm to me is just like this powerful woman, queen, goddess, and I did not get that.
Well, that's
I think
every
Halle
X-Men movie.
Berry brings that herself, though. I think she
Yeah.
suffered a lot from the script in those movies, more so than her performance.
Every X-Men movie, all the characterizations were messed up except for Wolverine.
Well-
So, like, it's Bryan Singer's X-Men. It's nothing like the comics. So she was doing what.
That's part of my whole problem with the X-Men movies in general, is because I'm not a big fan of the Bryan Singer vision of X-Men.
Right.
If I was doing it, it would be very different. Very
Like
different.
Brett Ratner's vision?
No.
Look, X-Men's the
I
only good
believe
X-Men movie.
I'm an anthropologist when it comes to comic books, and I don't want to bring them into my shitty world. I want to go into their world and have fun. And I feel like in these movies and in a lot of superhero movies, we're trying to fit superheroes into our world. I don't want that.
They killed JFK.
I want to go in their world.
Interesting.
Don't you think he would have felt a little bit upset, though, like as a fan going in to watch the movie, if there was a no-name or a lesser name playing Storm, like Storm? Like, why doesn't she get a star
here's my
too?
problem with Garfield. I think Garfield actually is better than Tobey Maguire.
Oh, no way.
No, because,
No way.
you know, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, that nerd guy that you have in the 60s comics doesn't exist anymore. Like,
he totally exists.
We're all nerds. Garfield's the biggest nerd. He was a kid I would have picked on in high school.
He was way too smooth to be an underdog protagonist. He's Spider-Man without the mask already. Like, you start the movie and he's Spider-Man. You need to see the transition from Peter Parker to Spider-Man.
You want him in nerd face? You got that in Jamie Foxx, okay?
Well,
I mean, I don't want someone in glasses being like, well,
that's
I'm
what
so
they
alone
did.
because I'm wearing this.
No, they totally she's all added Andrew Garfield. They gave him glasses and a funky hairdo when he's Peter Parker, and that's how he's different from when he's Spider-Man. Bullshit.
You will not use she's all that in a disparaging manner.
She did.
Okay, Andrew Garfield looks physically like Spider-Man. He's very wiry. I love that about him. He looks great in the costume. And I like the fact that they're not focusing on dork Peter Parker, and they're focusing on funny Peter Parker, because that's another part of his personality that most people don't know about because they don't read the comics.
Both.
He is funny.
You don't need him in glasses.
Both. He's not an underdog protagonist.
Did Flash Thompson not push him down and kick the crap out of him?
You need the underdog protagonist to make Spidey so
he was
fun.
Poor. His uncle died.
But I don't think this is Andrew Garfield's fault.
I mean, this is like having a super buff Bilbo at the start of the journey. It doesn't work.
You can't burn him alive for this. It's not his fault. Like, the people who are making this, Sony, it's their fault that it doesn't work.
So here, I need some help because these are good arguments. Your argument, you're just casting that a guy's better. Tell me why James Brolin should be miscast, because that is what we're So hold on, but in each of you, like, what is it about that? You've made a very clear point on why Storm has more than the actor, and then I feel like you was, but I guess I need to know more. Why? What was wrong with
He was playing it too cutesy. It was playing like too winky, too. Just like, oh boy, you're just being a silly guy, to Ronan. It's just, I didn't buy him. I didn't buy a really good performance.
You weren't intimidated?
No, at all. And this is going to be the Hitler of the Marvel Universe. He's going to be kicking the crap out of all the movies. You need someone intimidating and menacing in it, and I just wasn't getting that out of Thanos. He didn't it's not like he's not the Emperor in Empire Strikes Back. He's just not scary. He's at all.
And what is it about Storm that was missing in that movie that Halle Berry did wrong?
Halle Berry, I just felt like she played her very weak and timid, and she's always these big eyes and looking around, and just even physically the way she played it, it just didn't come off to me as Storm at all. And then the fact that she just totally ditched she tried to do an accent and it was terrible, and then she just totally ditched it, and also, here's another one. Even though the third movie sucks and is really terrible and very embarrassing, because of Halle Berry, she wanted a bigger role,
But she was also better in it too. She was also because
of her though, you didn't get to see Nightcrawler, and I was really bummed that we didn't get to see. Fuck Halle Berry.
But she was still. But honestly,
Nightcrawler, he was so cool.
It's funny you bring up Halle Berry and
for more
the X-Men 3. The only good thing was in that movie was Halle Berry in that movie. She was really good in that, and that was the most Storm.
And then Andrew Garfield, I feel like you made a good. Your point is that he was too smooth.
He was way too smooth and good-looking and charming to be Peter Parker. I do think he made an okay Spider-Man, but you need both sides of that.
Do you guys disagree with that argument? Was he already sort of the heartthrob guy
No.
Too early?
No, I think he was modern day nerd, which is not 60s or even 90s Tobey Maguire.
Messy hair and glasses
isn't today's
do not
society that nerd is the popular kid today?
No, I think it was what 2013 or 2012's nerd is. He played it exactly right. I mean,
he was the Hollywood nerd.
We're all nerds. I mean, no, he wasn't Hollywood nerd. That's all nerds.
You and I are nerds different than he is.
He absolutely was the Hollywood nerd.
No, I think he was nerd. No, Tobey Maguire was Hollywood
super
nerd.
nerdy.
No, but that was Hollywood nerd.
Tobey Maguire,
Going to high school, you'll never see
a wallflower in high school.
You would never see anyone in high school like that. You would never see anyone in high school.
There is no girl in high school that's not passing notes about Andrew Garfield.
Well, that's just because he's more handsome.
Right! This is my point!
So you just want him to be uglier.
He doesn't need to be uglier. He needs to be, according to the source material, he's super socially awkward and he blends in with the background. If you're too good looking, you don't blend in with the background. I'm sorry. And I get why they went for it, because little girls, the demographic they're going for, are going to be like, oh, Andrew Garfield, I can't wait to see that movie. He's way cuter than Tobey Maguire. I get that. It's not Peter Parker.
2001, which was a crazy year for many reasons, Tobey Maguire was a heartthrob. I mean, girls liked him. I was in college. Trust me, he was an attractive guy. I mean, they're not going to put Eric Stoltz from The Mask as Peter Parker in it.
I mean, if Rick Moranis was younger, I'd say let's put Rick Moranis in Peter Parker.
That would be
all right. I feel like I've heard enough. I feel like I've heard enough.
Can we change ages? Is that
Peter Parker? He has no place in this time anymore. Like, he's just that character in general.
Well, he has a shot now in the new. If Marvel takes him back, maybe we'll try again.
I love that.
They're not going with Andrew Garfield.
No,
Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Now Peter Parker, you can't do, but Miles Morales.
Yeah, you can.
We can do some stuff with Miles Morales, like
Donald Glover.
All right, but that wasn't her argument, so that's a good point. So here's my ruling. I feel like with Storm, your debate, I don't know, part of me, with everything I heard, it's more about the movies just sucked, and it's a combination of a lot of things more than Halle Berry. So that's where the other two are a little bit stronger with me. And I feel like you...
Sorry,
Katniss
the only reason, the thing out of your debate that I clung to that made me ultimately not pick you was that you said he's good at Spider-Man. So he was good in half the role, where I do have to agree with Nick. There was this weird CGI, and he didn't feel menacing. He felt
his
sort of weird.
voice was
and
so lame.
It's gonna be.
You want to stop arguing?
Yeah, you're helping him.
I don't care. Like, I want you to win.
Nick makes a good point of like you could have had that really iconic, amazing thing to start this. Civil War and everything that's going to happen.
And how great would it be, though?
Josh Brolin just didn't pull it off, so I'm giving it to Nick. Good work. But everyone, great first round. But yeah, stop helping each other. Stop helping each other.
Super ticky.
Shut up,
correction.
Dan. Shut up.
You said they're not going to bring in Eric Stoltz from The Mask. Jim Carrey was in The Mask. Eric Stoltz was in Mask. You added an extra D there.
Man.
those articles,
really
man.
Also,
that belt's really getting to his head.
Twitter, go after him.
Also, Eddie Redmayne is a year and a half older than Andrew Garfield.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, so he's not like 30.
He's 33.
Oh, Andrew Garfield's that old?
Andrew Garfield is 32 currently.
Doesn't
What
look it,
fountain
right?
of youth does
Good
he
for Andrew
drink
Garfield,
from?
right?
Holy
Pout, Dan,
crap.
twat, pout.
All right,
Pout,
round
Dan,
two.
Pout.
Nick, focus on your own fight.
I am.
All right, round two. George Lucas said that Disney bought a lot of his ideas for Star Wars Episode 7, but didn't use any of them. So the question, which comes in from Ian Willett on Twitter, asks, should George Lucas have had any say in the new Star Wars? Do we like that Disney's going its own route, J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy? Do we like that they're doing their own thing, or should they have listened to the master and the originator, George Lucas? We're starting with you, 19.
All right. I say no. He should not have any say on it. He sold it. It is not his anymore. He needs to move on with his life. I feel
Make
like...
strange magic?
like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what he needs to do, but he needs to leave. I know it's hard. He needs to go away from Star Wars. He doesn't need to work on it anymore. And like, the thing is like, but the thing is right now in Hollywood specifically, there's this awkward passing of the torch that's going on between like the baby boomers and the millennial generation, and we're coming up and they're retiring. And so this would be a great way to start that officially, to just be like, I'm stepping back, letting you guys handle it, passing the torch, do your thing. I'm not a part of this world anymore. You guys know what's up. You have your fingers on the pulse of what's hot and what's hip and what's cool and what people are going to want.
I feel like he's sort of doing that. The question, though, is should they have taken his ideas?
Yeah, he's doing strange magic and going to USC games.
Right.
He's not.
No,
but I mean, did you guys watch the behind the scenes documentaries?
I mean, he did seem a little...
No, okay. Did you guys watch the People versus George Lucas where he's like, Jar Jar's the key to all of this. If those are his ideas, then no, you do not need to let him do anything.
His ideas,
good point.
But
Nick,
his ideas
where do you
were
stand?
also Star Wars. And sure, like, should I think he have any like major input on the script? No, but he's a resource that you use when the time is necessary, because he created this world, he created these characters. Yes, he made 3 god-awful movies, but you know what? He made 3 great movies, and this thing that we're still talking about.
The 3 great movies were ones where he didn't micromanage, and he let other people do stuff, and he gave, other directors
But
a chance.
In a baseball team, an old player will be on the front, in the front office as a consultant that you can ask for advice. He can show up at spring training and like mentor and give advice. He doesn't need to have input on the story or script, but it's dumb. It's really dumb. It's like not having him as a resource.
They shouldn't have to use his ideas though if they don't like them, because we don't know what they were, and maybe they were all terrible.
Hey,
and maybe
George,
that's
we're
why
doing
they
this
didn't
thing.
take them.
Hey, George, we're doing this cross lightsaber. Is it a good idea? He's like, I don't know. I call them laser swords, but sure.
Trisha, where do you stand on this
I
debate?
think it all boils down to this question: should he have any say? Is the wording of the question. So we're not saying he should have full say.
Yes.
We're not saying he should micromanage. Should he have any amount of say? Absolutely. It's his universe. He's the one who created it, debatably, however you feel about that. But if we're going with he's the one that created it, I mean, millions of people based their lives on Star Wars, on the sci-fi adventure that it is. And even if he did make 3 very poor prequels that people don't like. Just because you make 3 bad movies doesn't mean that all your ideas are shit. I think that's a big fallacy to subscribe to that notion. I mean, if George R.R. Martin's next book that came out sucked, would we hire someone else to write the 7th one and say, don't take any of George's ideas? No, you at least want to hear what George has to say. Whether you use them or not is a completely separate issue. You want to, there should be some say.
Yeah, I mean, like,
as the no here at 19, I need you to help me fight these two more. How do you disagree with these two?
You know, this is also personal, but I'm tired of George Lucas. I'm tired of him in my life. I don't want to see him. I don't want to deal with him.
You're not going to Lucas Ranch.
I am not the biggest Star Wars person. I think it's like overdone. I think it's in my face way too much. I understand that it's great. I don't disagree that the first 3 movies are great. They're great. I love those first 3 movies. But the last 3 were terrible. We have no idea whether these ones are going to be good or not. Everyone's like, oh, they're going to be... We don't know. This is just like last time. I already saw what happened last time where everyone's getting all geared up and really excited.
Look, I'm going to sleep in the theater
putting on their things when they're going. And it's just like... And then they're like... And it sucks. Everyone knows episode 1 sucks. But then they're just like... Leave and they're like... It was fine, and they'll go see it again 2 or 3 more times because they just want it to be so good. And I don't know. I just want the world to move on. I want the world to move on. I feel like this is good for the world. This is more than just Star Wars. This is a symbolic, metaphorical changing of the guard. It is a passing of the torch. I want older people to let us have some fun. And you know what? He's
like Jupiter ascending.
No, listen, Star Wars.
You want Jupiter ascending?
Star Wars is a collection of ideas. Star Wars is a collection of ideas that George Lucas got from many other places.
Yeah, and he did it better.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, he didn't even come up with all these ideas himself.
Cool.
It's all like Jack Kirby.
He can help. He can help JJ steal. It's fine, and put it in a nice package that I can consume and show my kids. And but
I want to see one director's vision. I want to see what JJ wants to do.
JJ's going to do what JJ's going to do.
JJ's going to do what he wants to do, but with the little, suggestions that he may or may not take.
I know that I'm going to lose this argument. I know that I'm going to lose this argument because everybody loves Star Wars so much.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'm going to sleep over again for tickets, even though I can, just like I did. I almost didn't graduate high school because I slept 3 days to get tickets, and I didn't turn in 3 papers.
Yeah,
then I bribed the paper.
3?
Yeah, no, episode 1. I'm that old. I didn't care. I would do it again.
Was it worth it?
Yes.
Oh, all right, so hold on. We have to. You revealed an interesting point of you just don't like the movies, which is fair. But we gotta think broader. The people who do speaking for the people who do like the movies, do you think it's fair that George Lucas? Because I think you're making a valid point of he did let the reins go right in the first trilogy, which made them I feel like even better. Do you? I mean, I'm just.
I mean, like you see 3 movies where he had more hands off, and then you see 3 movies where he was more hands on. And the first 3 movies are better.
But he was still feeding information. Okay.
Apparently they've let him feed information, and then they've disregarded it because it's obviously not good.
Well, that's fine.
But they shouldn't that he shouldn't be doing this?
Yeah. For every Jar Jar and midi-chlorians he had a Lando Calrissian. So
right.
Yeah, but that's what he did before. Like he went back and he ruined.
He still cast you in
anybody's body of work, and you can cite YouTube for this. In anybody's body of work, there are some brilliant things, and there are some real stinkers. Everybody's allowed to have some stinkers. No one's perfect all the time, but that doesn't mean that they're not capable of producing awesome stuff in the future.
But then there's the 50-50 where you start sucking more than
you don't have to listen to him.
I mean,
you have to listen to him.
Not everybody's
Who should have the final say in your opinion and everybody's opinion? Just curiosity.
JJ.
Who has the final decision?
Absolutely.
So you all agree JJ should have the opinion, but your logic is George, because
for every shitty,
how much say do you give George? You're just saying by giving.
The question is, just giving ideas. Say, should he have any say?
Can you imagine how awkward it is to have him in the offices and surrounded by it, and it's not his anymore, and he's having this weird thing about it?
He's rolling in his money. He's got a jacket made of money.
And it's like having your weird parent over your shoulder, like backseat driving, and you're
just like talking to your shitty uncle at Christmas. Yeah, we all have to deal with it.
But occasionally your shitty uncle tells you something awesome.
That hinders the creative process.
I think it's his world. He should absolutely have a say.
Dan, you have something to say?
Well, I thought 19, you said it was a 50-50 chance of, good, bad. Interestingly, the prequels make up 50% of George Lucas's filmography as a director, so,
But he's not, but you know what the thing is? It's obviously that Empire and Jedi has proven that he's a good collaborator, and also in the first 3 Indiana Joneses with Spielberg, so
But these are all older movies. Like, everything that he's done since has not been good.
So give him a chance to pitch in on the new one, for God's sake.
No, make another thing that's good by yourself.
Well, they're already making Star Wars.
Prove yourself.
He doesn't need to.
They
He's
are
done.
making
Well,
it
no, he
already.
doesn't need to. You're right. He doesn't need to. He just needs to sit
He is.
back
It's
in the
called Strange
background
Magic. It
and
opens
he
up in a week
He
or two,
just
right?
needs to produce.
With weird
And
fairies and
Are
trolls.
you getting paid? Are you getting paid to do that drop?
He's got so much money that he should go
bad
around
we're-
and he should help other artists that are awesome.
He did donate
and,
$4 billion
and,
to education.
Yeah,
there- if
doing
you
that
just-
sort of shit. That's what he should be.
If you just said he should go around and help other artists, then that contradicts what you already argued.
I don't want
This
them to
is
help
after
the Star Wars
50%, it's
people.
already
Somebody
crap.
completely separate from Star Wars. Anyone else other than
Look.
connections with Star
You're
Wars.
admitting that he
go
does have
talk to
some good
them.
ideas, even
Yeah,
after
I'm
his
not,
prequels.
no, I'm not saying he's an asshole. I'm saying that he just needs to go mentor other people. He needs to mentor other people.
Sports and in like business, like Al Gore was on the board of directors for Apple for 10 years, doing nothing. But he probably gave some good advice and like helped design a button for the iPod. Craig Biggio's no one's going to get this, is in the front office for the Astros. He probably doesn't do a lot, but you ask him a question, he's probably going to give you his advice. You take it, you don't.
You're losing me with your sports knowledge.
Well-
Because you have it. So be
I know,
careful.
I'm getting like sports, like trance.
But smart people have smart people around them. You don't owe, and then the director is going to listen to how he says and feels. But if there's one good idea, Andy, you work with a bunch of people. You make you're the decision maker. And I pitch you some really stupid ideas, don't I?
Yes,
Yeah.
more often than you.
Yeah, but sometimes there's a really great one.
Yes.
So
Hey, you're friends with The Rock because of it.
yeah,
I think it's
so.
Yes,
so
yes,
that's my point.
there is a
You want-
percentage in the universe that he could have a good small thing to tell them to do.
So by that,
Yes.
by saying that right there, isn't it a courtesy to give the creator at least the kernel of allowing him
I think for
in the door
his
to
personal
say,
psyche, it would be better for him to just move
That
on.
doesn't matter because he doesn't care about my personal psyche.
But see,
he cares about getting.
I think you gave a strong argument. I'm not just belittling it, but I feel like he sort of did. He sold it. I mean, that was a huge thing
He
had
did,
to
and
do.
now when you sell, you have to stay away
But he
from
is.
it.
He doesn't
Once you
have. He
break up, you
doesn't
gotta
have
stay
any
away
say.
from it,
He's
you know?
literally doing an interview for his dumb movie where he's suggesting.
It feels like he's having sex with his ex-wife. Is what it feels like.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong,
know.
Dan, but I don't feel like he's like publicly going on Twitter complaining about it.
No, he's
He
not.
was in an interview. He was in an interview and they asked, "Are they using your ideas?" He said they're not. But I feels like, well, then at least
not
he's
kidding.
offering ideas, and I am going to give it to the tag team there. You guys get the points because I think we all agree he should not be in charge of it. But as a courtesy to the creator, if he has a good idea, he had several in the beginning, so maybe he has one more. I think you guys made a good point. So you guys get the points.
Crapping all over
You
myself.
tag team, so you both get the point.
Yeah, George Lucas said that in an interview with Cinema Blend.
By the way, movie fights where you can add your own feature in the middle.
I like that feature. You guys, it was hard. It was better that way. You both win. All right, moving on to round 3. It was revealed that Steven Spielberg almost directed American Sniper, if we all know that, which would have been interesting. Also, he was up for Interstellar, which then got passed over to Christopher Nolan. Poster art from Josh Whedon's failed Wonder Woman just popped up recently, where he didn't get to make that movie. So many failed projects that have been out there with a really good director that didn't get to see the light of day. That brings us up to Fight 3. Which film would have been better if its original director had made it? All make sense to everybody? You're starting us, Nick.
Guillermo del Toro could have done The Hobbit. He could have done a weird, spooky, finally had the budget to like go beyond like the world of storytelling and made 2 incredible Hobbit movies. Because he wanted to make 2 incredible Hobbit movies, not 3 of some of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. The Hobbits are garbage. Peter Jackson sucked. And like we're talking
ready to explode.
We're talking
here.
about George Lucas being 3 for 6. I think the Hobbits are worse than the prequels.
All right,
And-
Trisha, who are you voting for?
Yeah. Boom.
Oh, wait, you want me to talk about mine, not
who's
his?
your pick? You can go fight his pick in a minute, but who's your pick?
I'm gonna drop this mic.
Okay.
You clearly have a lot to say on that, but
I
who
do
are
have
you?
a lot to say
Who's
on
your
that.
fight in this match?
My pick is Terry Gilliam if he would have directed Watchmen, because I loved his idea for the alternate ending. I thought it was badass, and I think it would have made that movie infinitely better.
I'm not a Zack Snyder fan, but the ending is the only good thing he has ever done for The Watchmen.
No way. Gilliam came out in an interview and said that his ending would have been a parallel universe where the characters only exist in the comic books. It's a nice surprise to us. I'm not sure how it would have played out on screen, but the idea of it, at least, is way better in my opinion. I think it would have been surprising, and I think it would have been something that made that movie stick out much more than it does. Right now, I feel like Watchmen is kind of a side note to most people's comic book
because it's a
movies.
bad movie, but the
Right.
only
Hold
thing
on, all right, hold on. 19. Who did you pick?
I picked AI by Stanley Kubrick. It was half done by him, and then he died, and Spielberg came in. And also, no, it's not he died and was working on it. It was like the technology wasn't there to do what he wanted to do, so he had to abandon it for a while. And Man, I love sentient robots like so much, and the way Spielberg handled it, he's too much like pathos. Like it was just like that movie like makes me cry in not a good way at the end, where I'm just like bawling at how unfair everything is, and it just does. I just feel like Stanley Kubrick would have made AI something that I cried at in a good way.
I don't see what the difference would have been. Like, I really don't, because that's Spielberg's probably weirdest movie, and he was trying to make it as Kubrick as possible.
I know, but he's not.
Granted, but that was not Spielberg would have put Reese's Pieces in it, and you know, he would have like, you know, put like Tom Hanks in it. You know, it would have.
So you really would not want to see a Stanley Kubrick version of AI?
I think we did.
I
honestly
so
think we do.
hard disagree with that in so many ways. It's like when I watch a Stanley Kubrick film, like I think about it for like days and weeks and months, and it affects me on these weird levels that I don't even
Tom Cruise
realize.
movie with the piano.
Because Stanley Kubrick puts all these levels and layers in that you don't even know is going on. Like you don't even realize what he's putting in there. It's so subtle. Steven Spielberg is not that.
Subtle.
He's not subtle. And that's what's missing from that film. And it's like, when you're talking about like sentient robots and stuff like that, it's like subtlety is of key to talking about these issues, because it is such a bizarro question about like, can some AI, like, can a robot love? Can a robot learn? Can a robot have these experiences? What do they mean? You know, it's just like...
Your point makes sense. I think we can all agree Spielberg's not as... I mean, Kubrick was never as schmaltzy as Spielberg was, clearly.
Definitely. And I think it's one of his least schmaltzy movies. But, like, the thing about that movie is, you're talking about subtle... You just said subtle, small changes. With Guillermo, we're talking about, well, two completely different movies. That would have been just not...
Well, I want to hear that. How would they have been different?
Look how they direct. Compare, like...
I think your only argument is 2 movies versus 3.
No, I think no, because I didn't see anything shocking or groundbreaking watching Peter Jackson's The Hobbit. Every time I watch a Guillermo del Toro movie, I see something I've never seen before.
I didn't want shocking or groundbreaking. I wanted The Hobbit.
Well,
the
you didn't
book
get it.
that I grew up with. That's what I wanted. I got The Hobbit mixed with a bunch of appendices and other fun stuff that they did on the side, which the more Middle-earth you give me, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad at that. I'm going to sit there and marathon the movies back to back to back to back. So if you want to give me stuff that's in the Summerlin, I'm totally okay with that.
You want them to go Hobbit,
and you want
Catcher.
Peter Jackson to keep
going.
Just
those were bad movies. Those were bad movies. And here's the thing. Here's what you said. You said a decent movie that could have been great. You said a bad movie that could have been okay, but you don't even know if the ending is going to be good.
I think it would have been awesome.
I'm saying taking a terrible movie and giving it to a great director, and that it's going to be infinitely better.
They are not worse than the prequels. You lie, sir.
That's
absolutely not. I would say that your opinion that they're terrible movies is 100% a matter of opinion and not fact. It captures the heart. It captures the there and back again. For me, it did. I cried after the third one like a freaking baby.
It captured everyone's money because it was a 9-hour cash grab.
Right. Your only argument is 2 movies versus 3 movies.
And that
Which we can't even say would have happened because the same studio made it, right?
I am saying that they would have been better because Guillermo del Toro right now is a better director than Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson is Middle-earth.
But you know what? It obviously needed some fresh eyes because obviously he just was bored and tired.
I'd like Guillermo del Toro to not just to go do like Cthulhu weirdness and do that.
Well, he could have brought
screw the Hobbit and
Middle-earth.
I want to see the Cthulhu weirdness and like I want to see Guillermo do all your movies.
You want Cthulhu and the Hobbit?
No, I want Guillermo to do that. He would have the budget. I want to see him what he could do with $500 million in a movie. I think that would be amazing. Like you were excited. Everyone was.
How involved was he? I mean, he was pretty involved in the beginning. Did Jackson use any of his stuff? Can you?
Guillermo del Toro was very, very, very deep into post-production.
Right.
I think a lot of it. I'm trying to look to research now. I think a lot of it was the legal trouble with getting The Hobbit actually legally cleared to make. He wanted to go do Pacific Rim and do some other stuff.
But I'm just saying the creative stuff that he'd done for years. Did he do? Did any of that make? Is there anything we know?
I think it was mostly Peter Jackson's vision, particularly when it got split from 2 to 3. And obviously,
so maybe it would have been tainted anyways with the Peter Jackson stuff. So you wouldn't have seen a pure Del Toro movie even if he had done it.
No, but you would have seen like a very good commercial.
All right, so why Watchmen?
I just love that idea for an ending. I think
Watchmen shouldn't be a movie at all. That's my argument. Watchmen shouldn't be a movie
That's
at all.
actually, I agree 100% with that argument.
It's not gonna.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I don't think it translates from page to screen very well, but I do think that Gillian's, I do think that his translation from page to screen would have worked better than what we got in the Watchmen.
Why? But I don't understand why.
You don't understand why?
Yeah, why would Gilliam have done a better job? Because
the ending that was pitched, I don't have the exact words in front of me, so I don't know it. But the ending that was pitched is that Dr. Manhattan goes back in time, since he's the only one with supernatural powers, goes back in time and makes it so that he ceases to exist. And then when they come back to modern day, they see someone reading a comic book and it's like, hey, you guys are just like in my comic book. So we enter a parallel universe where the Watchmen do exist, but only on paper, which is as it should have been. Like, we're talking about the problems translating it from paper to screen.
That's a cool ending,
like that
but
ties it together. That's surprising and that's memorable.
How do you think his vision of the movie would have been, though? Like, what would have been different than what Zack Snyder did?
For me, it's all about that ending. It's tying it up with a nice little bow and making it a memorable movie. Would the rest of it been
similar to what Snyder did?
Maybe.
So the movie was a waste of time?
The movie was not a waste of time, but it was not as good as it could have been.
That's what I would have walked out and been like, oh, so this was pointless. That's how.
Oh, nuh-uh.
Well, no, I hate that ending. I don't like that ending either. I just I like the giant alien starfish, and that's what I like.
The big alien
squid.
Put it in there.
Look, I don't care about offending people about the Watchmen. That ending is also stupid, and I don't like Zack Snyder.
It's not stupid though.
Watchmen.
The
only ending that made sense was actually, and I'm giving Zack Snyder credit.
No.
Which sucks.
No.
Was that ending? That ending? That's the only thing that
movie. You didn't like the opening?
Huh?
Nope. You didn't like the opening either?
Yeah.
No, the opening was great because it's just shot for shot from the panels, and I was like, wow, it's just like watching the comic. But then as the movie progresses, Zack Snyder he cuts things out. It's adapted weird. Certain things that he's copying don't make sense anymore because they don't have the emotional resonance that they should have. Like when Bobastis is exploded, nobody cares because you don't know who that character is. But in the comic book, you're like, oh, this is Ozymandias' best friend. He just sacrificed his best cat friend, and that's the only friend he has in the whole world. But it doesn't have any, like, you don't even care in the movie because you don't know anything about it.
It's not a good movie.
It's not.
I just like Terry Gilliam's idea translating
and honestly,
it to screen better than I like Zack Snyder's.
But see here where you're struck. I'm just going to reveal. I was pushing because I like Terry Gilliam's crazy. Like would he have done crazy things with the movie that might have made us more exciting? You haven't told me that.
Might have made it awesome. I mean, I don't know. Add
but
Monty
I'm just
Python
counting you, and I'm telling you,
Fear and Loathing together.
I'm telling you in advance. Like I wanted to hear more of why Terry Gilliam would have brought his cool vision to it, which is what's lacking from your argument for me of what's happening. And my problem with these two arguments is that.
Can I say one thing?
Sure, go ahead. I'm because of that. Just so you are aware, Trish. I'm honing in on your two.
I think Guillermo, he makes fun movies. Every movie he makes, whether it's Blade 2 or Pacific Rim, or Dan, help me out. I'm just nose about to start bleeding.
Guillermo?
Yeah, I can't say
You can't say his movies, and you're such a fan.
Did you just say Blade?
I'm not a huge fan.
Did you just say Blade Runner?
No, Blade 2.
Blade 2. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Close.
Close.
I was about to declare the winner.
No, you have the Hellboy.
Well,
okay. They're fun. They're fun. And the one thing
you couldn't even remember them. They're so fun.
No, they are fun though. They're fun. The one thing though that the Hobbit wasn't. It wasn't fun. It was boring and plotting. The Lord of the Rings was fun. The first three.
I just think you didn't like it.
No, but
clearly it was fun to an audience, and it made a lot of money, right?
Did you like it? Movies are fun.
It's not about what I like. The audiences liked it.
But he would have made fun
three
movies.
times.
He would have made fun movies.
Del Toro's movie's fun, okay? But Stanley Kubrick makes masterpieces. Okay, this is a lost masterpiece where you could just study it and find a million things in it, and you could have a conspiracy theorist making movies about it with their weird theories about it. So the world is deprived of another gem.
I love that, but before I make my ruling,
to clarify real quick on the Guillermo del Toro Peter Jackson thing, Jackson said he looked at Guillermo del Toro's design, said that was a del Toro film that he could not make, and he said he took bits and pieces, but it was pretty much a ground up redesign of the movie. So there's very little of Guillermo del Toro stuff in the final Hobbit.
And can I say something about her point? Mm-hmm. Spielberg followed his script and followed his
Spielberg is not
notes.
Kubrick.
True.
Yeah,
true.
I gotta say, I think making a ruling here, I think your argument is that the movie sucked, which is I don't think that's a valid argument because it didn't suck for a lot of people. I agree it sucked, but that's not. I do agree it sucked. But that's not we can't make that be the basis of why you're making the call. And I think you can't guarantee me that he would have still only been able to make 2 movies because the studio probably would have made him do it too, right? There's still the argument that they would have stretched out the material. So anyway, who knows, right? So, but what I think the argument is that we missed a masterpiece that could have been made. Granted, he's dead and we wouldn't have, but there's no ruling that I can't pick the directing who's dead to make movie. And I think if we could all pick, I think I'd rather see one more Stanley Kubrick film than either of these two movies, because I think both movies are going to be not that much different. So 19 wins.
All right.
I want to see Tony Scott's AI.
Round 4.
I love that you got stung by the dead director.
I know, yeah. As soon as he brought that up, I was like, nope.
Oh, man.
All right, so this is relevant because Jennifer Lopez is back. It feels like it's 1999 or something.
Gosh.
But she's back in and starring in The Boy Next Door. Ooh. Sleeps with
But
the
don't
kid.
call her
and then,
a cougar.
Yeah, she sleeps with the guy, but it turns out he's in her school. Ooh, what is she going to do? And he's crazy.
boy.
Anyway, it was relevant
Movie is
because...
the best movie ever.
It's relevant because Doug
your face.
McRobbie... Doug McRobbie on Twitter asked us, what is the best performance by a musician turned actor? And today we're starting back with you, Trish.
Oh, David Bowie, Labyrinth. Come on. His codpiece and crotch make that entire film. If we didn't add that super awkward sexual awakening layer to Labyrinth, I think it would have been just another kid's film that's kind of forgotten. I mean, it's a lot dependent on his codpiece.
If we're going penis size, then Milton Berle was in best movie ever. Like,
It's not just penis size. Take a look at the cinematography, how closely that penis was up front, and the makeup, all of his moves. David Bowie made that movie as psychotic as it was. And what do we love about it? We love that it's effing weird and psychotic.
19.
I would have to say Dwight Yoakam in Panic Room. I don't know if you're familiar with Dwight Yoakam. He's a country singer, and he's very flashy, and he's tall, and he's got these like itty bitty stick legs, and he wears his cowboy boots and a little jacket with rhinestones and all this crap. And then when I saw him in Panic Room, I did not know who he was. I was like, that's Dwight Yoakam? I think he gained some weight, and his hair was in like these cornrows, and he was just like this dirt bag, and I mean, he just like totally lost himself in that role, and I just didn't see him at all, and I was just like, wow, why are you not acting? Like,
Has he done anything since then?
I think he's been here and there in a few things.
He has. He's been in Wedding Crashers. He was in
for 5 minutes.
Crank.
Yeah.
He was in the Crank movies.
Which
as
is
the
odd, like it's
doctor.
odd, like he chooses not to act when he obviously could if he wanted to.
He's
Chooses to do
Yes, he
weird. He chooses to do crank.
He's done a lot of television. Wilfred Under the
Hey,
Dome.
I really like Crank. I don't care what anyone.
I'm just saying.
It was a crazy movie. Nick, who do you pick?
The good guys dress in black. Remember that, just in case we ever come face to face and make contact. The title held by me, MIB, Men in Black. Will Smith
Oh, wow.
in Men in Black.
Wow.
Here come the Men in
Faintly in the
Black.
background, I hear it.
Yeah.
Hope we don't get strike for
I know. I
that.
was about to say.
I mean, he was
You
kind of.
just use lyrics to defend your point.
Look, here's the thing. It's the movie that, Independence Day helped. It's the movie that defined probably one of the biggest movie stars happening now. I mean, he's a great actor. He does great movies, not without his kid.
Wait, you would say that those movies over Fresh Prince defined his acting career?
Yes, because Fresh Prince was a great sitcom, but no, Men in Black is what labeled him as okay, move over, Tom Cruise. We're putting you in movies for the next 8, 9
Yeah, but I mean,
years.
he already has established himself as an actor, and I mean, he's not really established as a musician as much. I mean, he does music, but he's already established as an actor before Men in
what
Black.
songs did he do for Pan's Labyrinth? David Bowie.
Pan's Labyrinth is a different movie.
What did Dwight Yoakam do a song for Panic Room? Because Will Smith did Men in Black.
I'm not saying he's not a
Did you say
musician.
Pan's Labyrinth?
He did.
Pan's Labyrinth is a very different film.
Well, he couldn't remember Pan's Labyrinth when he was talking about Guillermo.
David
And David Bowie did do things for Labyrinth.
Kind of awesome.
Yeah, David Bowie was the
You remind me of the Babe,
guy.
and the Babe with the power.
In Labyrinth, he definitely
with the
did songs. In
power.
Pan's Labyrinth, he
Will
didn't.
Smith was awesome in the movie. He made the great song that we all love. Let's just appreciate it.
So, Nick, can I ask? I just want to. I'm just for the record here. Will Smith did Bad Boys before he did Men in Black. So you're saying that Bad Boys did not define Will Smith as an
Also, he did Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince for
Way before
years.
that.
and
That's not the
Independence Day.
question,
Those
though.
are his three.
That's not the
biggest-
question. I'm talking best performance.
Independence Day was before Men in Black, wasn't
Yes,
it?
Yes.
the year before. I'm talking best performance by a musician turned actor.
Okay, how was it better in Men in Black than any of the other movies he just said?
It's the movie that defined him as, this is the guy who can print money.
I still think when people
Because
think Will
Independence Day-
Smith, they think Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
No, they don't. They
I mean,
think Men in
let's
Black.
not get
It's-
semantics, but that's not a performance.
No, but it was also, he gave the best performance out of all those movies, too.
No, he's just
You
Will
just
Smith.
say he printed money because he's Will Smith and he proved it 3 times is what your argument is?
No, I think he gave a best performance in the best movie.
Okay, guys, so which...
When people say Will Smith, you think, now this is a story all about how.
I just said
you
the
don't
guy
think
dressed in
here
black.
comes the
Remember
Men in
that, just in
Black.
case.
So David Bowie and Dwight Yoakam, interesting choices. Why do you guys dislike the other one?
Well, I say for David Bowie, I mean, he's already known for being weird and looking different and having costumes on. Like, I mean, he's a performer as an artist, really. I mean, like, he's always acting and shedding skins and doing different things.
That's why he was so good at it.
But Dwight Yoakam, you don't see him doing stuff like that. It's like, you're just like, it's all of a sudden, and then you're like, what the hell just happened?
Because no one knows
like,
who he is.
That?
But would you argue that he made that movie?
And you still know that he is David Bowie. Like, you see him and it's David Bowie. In Panic Room, Dwight Yoakam, you do not think that's
tons of times actors get cast to play themselves. We see this over and over in Hollywood, but I don't think that lessens the job that they did at all in it. I mean, when you think of the movie Labyrinth, you think of David Bowie. When you think of Panic Room, is that the first person you think of?
And you just think of the performances side by side. I mean, his performance is good for Labyrinth, but it's a children's film. I'm talking about like a real drama where this guy's really acting his ass off.
So you're saying that the acting in Panic Room is way better than the acting in Labyrinth?
Yes. Have you seen Labyrinth?
Oh no, doing fantasy, man, is such a different escape.
What I mean, it's just like Jennifer Connelly's not great at, like, I mean, I love the movie, but it's not the best acted movie in the whole world.
At least we can agree on that. That's good.
Like, no, I like Labyrinth. I'm into it. But I also see its flaws. I'm not blind to its flaws.
To put yourself in a whole different universe is so cool and such a journey.
Yeah, but that's not David Bowie's.
I mean, David Bowie really is in a whole different universe all the time anyway, which is why he was perfect for that role.
Well, and is it fair to say, at what point did Labyrinth come in Bowie's career musically? Was he as that weird before the movie?
Labyrinth came out in 1986.
Yeah, that's after his glam.
Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah,
and all
Ziggy
that
Stardust,
stuff.
glam, all that
Was
stuff.
it before or after the Mick Jagger music video? Because that was the big
They were on the
performance.
same time. That was in like mid 80s
which
stuff.
song was that?
Because my question is,
Dancing in
and
the
to you,
Streets.
because I don't know, but did Labyrinth help define his weirdness, or had that already been established?
I don't think it helped define his weirdness. I think it gave him a stage to showcase it in a whole different way. He'd showcased it on stage before as a musical performer.
It was just finding like
but
a younger
not on the
audience,
screen.
essentially. I mean, like, because I watched him and I was like, ooh, David Bowie, and then I learned about him. So I mean,
It's
it was
like,
just
cool,
a way for
David
him to
Bowie's-
get kids to like him.
Hey
you know?
guys, David Bowie's on acid. Let's get a camera and film it. I mean, that's not
It's
a
a
performance.
chance for
Yeah, so
him
what
to
about the-
show that voodoo that he does so well
Was there-
on screen. It was brilliant.
Was there a moment that freaked you out, or give me about the performance though that struck you as
Every
memorable?
super close up of his junk just gyrating
All right, here's the
was
thing.
the
Okay, here's the
moment
performance.
that
I'm gonna go back to Will
struck
Smith. I'm
me
gonna go back to Will
of
Smith.
that movie.
Will
Yeah.
Smith had fantasy elements. It had all this world that you had to enter, and then he was the vessel into this world. He's your
Yes.
everyman, and then you bought.
He's talking about Will Smith,
Yeah.
not David Bowie.
Yeah.
Well, everything that you say just completely applies to David Bowie and Labyrinth.
Dwight Yoakam.
No. And like he just gave this great performance, like this great leading man performance, and an action star performance that we haven't. Like,
Both of you guys, they're the same person in their movie. My guy is a totally different person in my movie.
All right, I got to make a call.
no one knows
and-
who your person is, though.
That's not my fault.
But that doesn't matter, right?
it
That
doesn't
doesn't matter.
No, I'm being.
And I think, based on the arguments, I got to give it to Dwight Yoakam, and 19 gets the points. I think you're right, and I did see it. He did a great performance in that movie, and you wouldn't know. Oh, that's a country singer. It does. Whereas I wish I just wanted a little bit. Definitely more iconic with David Bowie, and I love that performance. But
Such an
I need
awesome
more than a
performance.
codpiece.
Yeah.
And I feel like Dwight Yoakam really did get scary and creepy and all those things that I just wish David Bowie could have. I don't even remember, but I
Yeah,
need
weird
help
and
remember.
scary and creepy. You don't think he was
Dan.
creepy?
Dancing in the Street came out in 1985, the year before Labyrinth.
Yeah, that was a better performance.
All right, so 19 gets a point. You're it's tied. It's 2 to Nick, 2 to 19, 1 to Trish. Come on, Trish, just step it up.
I know.
You got a shot here.
I know, dude.
Round 5. We still got a few more left. It's a new year, which means it's a whole bunch of movies celebrating anniversaries. So Dawn of the Dave, 87. I see what you did there, Dave. I get that. That's cute. Fight number 5. What's the best movie of 1995? 20 years ago today. It was 1995. What was the best movie? And 19, we're starting with you.
I'm going to go with 7, David Fincher's 7. Man, that movie freaked me out when I saw it. I mean, that was a great year for movies all around, but 7 in particular is the first time where you get to see David Fincher really do David Fincher, because before that, he had done Aliens 3, and we all know that Aliens 3 was not his movie that he wanted to make. It got messed up, studio interference nonsense, and finally he got to do him, and it was glorious, you know? I mean, it's just like, what's in the box? It's such a, like, this iconic moment, you know? And then you have, like, Brad Pitt and everybody. Oh, it's just, like, that movie is amazing. I
Great
mean,
movie. Nick.
Kevin Spacey. Ooh.
Michael Mann's Heat, the long-awaited showdown between.
The director of Black Hat.
Huh?
You mean director of Black Hat, Michael Mann's Heat, right? Just sorry. Go ahead. I was knocking Michael Mann for making Black Hat. Go ahead. Heat was far superior.
Yeah, because people are still ripping him off. No, the long-awaited showdown between Robert De Niro and Al Pacino had a great cast, and even if you haven't seen Heat, you have, because you've seen Dark Knight. Dark Knight is more or less beat for beat Heat.
Good point.
Except it's not as good, because Heat is better. And it's still like... the movie that will stand the test of time out of any of these movies is Heat.
Whether he admits it or not, it's clear Christopher Nolan probably watched Heat to his crew.
He did admit. He was like, he brought in the crew and was like, we watched Heat a bunch of times. He admits that they more or less ripped off Heat. It's just an amazing movie. Probably the best shootout I've ever seen. Just like the acting's great. It's probably the last great performances of Al Pacino and Robert De Niro before they became cartoon characters.
Trisha, who are you picking?
Braveheart.
Oh.
Braveheart, come on, that's such an iconic film from that year. I mean, it's historical, albeit not totally accurate, but I feel like really made historical movies bam in people's faces. Who doesn't remember freedom and want to paint their face blue? It's an amazing movie that inspired many, many, many other movies.
That Mel Gibson did.
Well.
I mean, he's been just doing the same movie over and over. And I still like The Patriot better. You know.
You like The Patriot better, really? Ooh, I don't know that I'd argue that, although I did like The Patriot, but that's because I like Braveheart so much.
But it's just, he just keeps making the same movie.
It's got a plot that doesn't quit, incredibly likable characters, incredibly intriguing characters, and it brings that historical element of education, like I said, albeit not entirely accurate.
What movies outside of Mel Gibson and Russell Crowe are making movies like Braveheart that are still like influencing movies today?
I mean, they're still making those movies now.
Tons.
But they made Exodus, right?
Oh god, that's so terrible.
There's tons of, and television right now. How much television is out there that's like that? Marco Polo, Da Vinci's Demons. Everyone's trying to do historical fiction and do it well.
I will say this about Braveheart.
I mean, Game of Thrones?
That movie is so... Braveheart,
Well, that's not really...
Braveheart's great,
sorry.
but it's just like an investment of your whole day to watch
Because
it.
it's so
Whereas
good.
Seven, you just pop that in and like watch it and have a great time. Like I've watched Seven far more times than I've watched Braveheart.
Braveheart uses your whole soul. That's why you're tired after watching it.
That's a good question. Which one of not your film which one would you rewatch more?
Braveheart.
Of not your film.
No.
Because I know you're each going to say your own film.
I don't love either.
I can't rewatch Seven over and over. I'll be perfectly honest.
See,
it's too disturbing for
I'm a
me.
horror person, so
I think Seven's
will,
a gimmick.
You know, but...
I think it's a gimmick.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's a great movie. I think Fincher's done plenty of other better movies. And Braveheart is good, but it's
So
not.
good.
It's not great. It's not.
What?
It's not a great
What?
movie. Like, I'm sorry, Heat in every facet on every level is hitting 100%. I think some of the performances are terrible. I think
Even best editing?
Huh?
Even
Yes.
editing?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I think all the movies that ripped Heat off are like created bad editing, but Heat, it was something different. It was something new. I mean, and I'm sorry, you said people are like still trying to do Braveheart. Every movie's.
Well, I wanted to strike that out of the argument.
Okay.
Every one of these movies is clearly inspiring other movies. Can we all agree?
Okay, that's fair.
Fair enough.
I mean, all three of these movies were so iconic that I feel like they've been ripping them off for years. So I don't want to hear that debate.
That's fair.
So what else you got?
I would say when people look back on Heat and Braveheart, to pit those two against each other, which one is more memorable now, this many years later?
Heat.
No way.
You asked me Heat.
For
19? Which one?
For you.
Well, I mean, it's just the people that I know, like, I know weirdos, and we watch Seven, and we love David Fincher, and that's my whole circle in my life, so that's all the type of people I deal with.
Those weirdos, would they watch Heat or Braveheart?
Or Dark Knight.
Really?
Or would they watch Braveheart or Dark Knight?
Braveheart.
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
What?
What?
What's happening?
Braveheart or Dark Knight? And you're arguing Dark Knight? What alternate universe do I live in right
No, but I'm
now?
just like, I like Braveheart. Like, I'm not against Braveheart.
Why is
but
the Dark Knight?
It's
What?
the watch
He's
it,
just
rewatch
trying
it.
to-
You're saying Dark Knight is the
trying
Heat
to win his
remake.
argument because
It is.
they ripped off Heat.
I zoned out to fact check a second. I think we're talking about Batman. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it doesn't. We can't argue for
saying
Dark
Dark
Knight
Knight is
then.
the Heat
That's not, we're arguing
equivalent.
for Heat.
I'll do what I can to win.
I would say even if you are going to pit Dark Knight against Braveheart, this many years later, it's that much more modern, it's that much more relevant. I still think people would pick Braveheart as the better movie.
I think Heat is way more relevant in today's time with like the crime and like, you know, this is the first movie I've seen where the cop was maybe the bad guy and like the more of the human dirtbag in the movie, where like you identified as a human being more with Robert De Niro's character. And also like just the cast, just real quick. You got Val Kilmer, John Voight, Sizemore, Bubba from Forrest Gump, Haysbert, William Fitcher, who's also in Dark Knight. I mean, the cast is just amazing.
You just said
amazing in
just
Seven.
said way more relevant. So you don't think that freedom of speech and freedom of thought and idea are relevant today with everything going on with censorship all across the world?
Wow, you shut him up. That's
No.
I gotta note that.
No.
Okay.
I don't know. That took you a little while to answer that one, so I'm knowing that. Why? Wow.
I think here's the problem with Braveheart. It's a good movie, but I think people like it, and people like it more. It's just more popular. It's not Heat's fault that the marketing was terrible.
I think that's unfair. I think
you're
all
going
three
the
of these
indie
films are
argument?
popular.
Well, no,
Yeah,
I mean,
like-
I don't think Heat is you know, like
It is
popular.
now. I think people are. I mean, fact check me. I mean, Heat is a
no,
popular
I think
movie.
Heat was definitely kind of a
Not at its time.
flew under the radar. At its
Same
time.
with Seven.
Yeah.
No, Seven
Of
was
the year,
No,
Braveheart was the more
Seven hit-
awarded and remembered, but I think over time they've all earned their
Yeah, and
accolades.
I don't think the hipster argument flies. It's lesser known, so it's
no,
better.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I think the popularity makes it seem better than it is. Because it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie.
I don't think the lack of popularity makes it seem better than it is.
I mean, if we're going with the popular argument, the IMDb ratings would, I think, be an indication of popularity. Braveheart has a slight edge over Heat. Like
Over Heat, and we're
8.4
7.
to 8.3. They're
For-
basically tied.
We're 7 on
We're
the list.
7, yeah.
Seven, let's see.
I'm not basing
And I
this.
wanna- I
This is
wanna
not
say this
basing
about
decision,
Seven.
But if
Seven-
we're going into
I just want
if
to
we're
know.
going into popularity, you know, that's
But Seven also helped to set like a tonality of like new and like modern, like dark movies. I mean, I just like after Seven, you saw much more of that Fincher tone, and I just love
Fincher.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah,
But, like, I think Andy's right,
But I mean, in
though.
the '90s, though, like it kind of got darker towards the end there. I mean, especially we're talking about 1999 movies, and I feel like 1995, that movie helped make all those movies in 1999 possible.
I think that Andy's right, though. To be fair, all these.
Am I?
Yeah, no.
Am
I will say
Am
this.
I good side?
I will say this. All these movies
have been
influenced-
remade.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
So I still feel like Heat on its own is just. It's a cultural milestone.
All right,
also,
you've sold me on Heat. You've each sold me. I need you to fight the other movies. Why are the
Okay.
other movies not as good? For one more minute here.
Braveheart. Yeah, again, it's just like it's time, and it's just like it's an old story that's been. It's like Tristan and Isolde, you know, Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet situation. I mean, it's like I've seen this story.
Because it actually happened.
I know,
Did it
but
because
it's
it's
like,
so factually inaccurate that.
well,
But finish that
it is-
thought.
it
You've
is
seen that.
factual.
What,
But I've seen that story a lot, and I can't give it a lot of props for just like you just redid that story for then. You know, it wasn't making progress in art. Whereas I feel like Seven made progress in art, like in filmmaking.
I think
whereas
that's a fair point. But what about Heat? You don't think Heat did that as well?
I have not seen Heat.
Well, see, I think the problem
Fair
with
enough.
Seven is it became. It's just a gimmick. It is a gimmick.
A twist ending isn't a gimmick.
Yeah. What,
I
what do you
think,
mean
like,
by
why is
that?
it a
No,
Because
I think that like.
I mean, it was a legit mystery.
Spoiler
like-
alerts. Well, yeah, but what is the? There was more than just the ending to that film.
No, I know, but like, it just became okay. Guy died, murdered. I mean, and like,
Spoiler alert.
It seemed like a better version of Copycat the movie, like with Sigourney Weaver. I'm just dropped Copycat. I just never like got into Seven being like this end all be all movie. Like when you pulled out the head, it was like.
Are you like into serial killers and stuff though?
The Kevin
See, like, I'm
Spacey.
into
No,
serial
I'm into-
killers.
The
and stuff,
Kevin
so it's
Spacey
like,
twist wasn't like a game changer for you too. Like the fact
and
that
like
they.
peeling off his like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
like,
No, it wasn't. Like nothing.
Like that was the
shocked
first
me.
time you saw how far serial killers could go, like in this dark of a way. Like before, it's like it was kind of I don't know.
I just nothing surprised me
brutal.
about that movie. It was fine.
Trisha, thoughts on Seven?
I agree. I think that it was deeply disturbing, and I think that a lot of people feel like it was super powerful because they're naturally drawn to the dark, shocking type of movies. But I do not think that that movie specifically itself, from start to finish, was a game changer. I think that shock factor
Yeah.
really impacted people, but that's it.
It was shock value.
It was
versus-
totally a game changer because it let everyone know what David Fincher could do, and it allowed him to continue to make awesome movies.
It was a great platform for David Fincher, which I think we can agree on, but I do not think that it was the
Well, that's a good
best movie
point.
because of that.
How did that launch its directors in each of the other movies? I'm just trying to find something to latch onto. Well, Mel Gibson, I guess that's unfair. He's had his own
Well,
troubles.
Michael Mann's made some good movies, and not recently. Like
Isn't he making something soon?
no, he just did Black Hat, and it's just yeah, it's not good. But no, I think Michael Mann.
Manhunter's awesome.
Did you have something, Dan?
Yeah, to answer your question, 7 is actually the highest rated on IMDb, and from the most users.
Interesting.
Yeah, because everyone likes shock.
Yeah, I don't.
and-
I'm not. Again, I just think
It's a bad horror movie. No, I'm sorry. It's a good horror movie.
It's a good horror movie. Yeah.
It's a good horror movie.
And
I love
it's a
good
good
horror
heist
movies.
movie, and it's a
No,
good
no,
historical
it-
movie, right?
yeah.
We could
It's a
genreize all
great
of them.
heist movie. Well, she didn't say anything about Heat.
Yeah.
I also have not seen Heat, so I can't argue against that.
That is almost kind of an argument against it.
It is.
19 and
Two
I
of the
are
people on the
together
panel
on
have
that.
watched it.
Just
I'm not
I have
against
seen it.
watching
How do you feel about Heat?
you know.
Just on its own.
It's not about what I feel.
No, I know. But I'm just like,
I actually like all three of these films equally.
Don't toy with Andy's
So
emotions
anybody's gonna
like
tell
that.
me on the comments, you just pick your favorites.
No.
I am actually having a very difficult time because I'm trying to, based on what you guys said, to make something of a win. And the only thing I have is I feel like, what filmmaker did we get at the end of the day that was the best?
don't pick the crazy. Okay.
And so that's the only thing I can have from this argument
you're
that's
going
helping
with-
me,
you're
unless
going
someone's got to throw one last Hail Mary
With
at.
best director over best movie.
Well, no, I think all three films are equally as good. I think it's hard. No one's made me a point of why one
I would
film
say-
is better.
I
Because
would
I love all
say-
three of those movies. I think you guys are being harsh on Seven. Seven is a great film. I think you're being harsh on Braveheart. It did find it, and I think you guys didn't see Heat, so it's not fair. But Heat's a great film. They're all great films, but I gotta find something.
What would you watch again? Honest, and this doesn't help me.
Well,
what would you watch
Seven's the shortest.
Barely. But
I would say what makes a great movie is one that people remember years later and treasure fondly. And I would say out of these three, Braveheart has got to be that movie for the most amount of people.
See, I would. So in that basis, I would probably cancel Heat out because I think Heat would probably be more iconic from a filmmaking standpoint, and a lot of reasons it's great. I probably would remember Seven and Braveheart more together. But then where I'm struggling is Mel Gibson or David Fincher. Is ultimately what was the better of cinema?
It comes down to director. Best director was not the
I gotta
question.
find something.
These are very much director
Check
movies.
runtime.
I gotta find something, and I feel like Seven.
Seven is by far the shortest.
Okay.
of the three.
Seven. They're both fantastic films,
Yeah,
but I
we're
gotta
going
find
with
something
best
to try.
movie, not
I give it to
best
Seven.
director. Damn it.
19 gets it just from that point. This is hard. Everyone's gonna yell at me and say I'm picking my favorites. It's not my favorite. I'm not telling you my favorites because that's not my job as a judge.
I do know. I just wanted to hear opinions on Heat. Maybe there's something.
I love Heat.
I'm
And I think
gonna
it is.
go
It
home
is.
and watch Heat.
No one
It is
criticized
telling
Heat.
that they haven't seen it.
Here's the thing,
You
no one
should all
criticized-
go watch Heat. It's a great
Okay.
film.
I
Andy-
want to watch Heat.
Andy, stop
I'm a little
pouting.
embarrassed that I haven't seen
He's
it.
not
Stop
pouting.
getting so upset and pouting, Andy. Come on.
He's not pouting.
Don't take it so seriously.
Why so serious?
Why so serious? Which I guess then Heat should have won because it's related. Come on, that's the other reason I was canceling it out. Like that was the stupidest. Well, because it made the dark. It didn't make the.
It did make the dark.
We gotta rush through. We're running out of time.
All right.
Round 6. Now a completely random question from Twitter. This has nothing to do with anything this week, but Reese Kelly, funny Reese Kelly. I know how that's funny.
These
Has said
usernames are
Hilarious.
best use of product placement in a film, and we're gonna start. We have to go through this quick because I want to get us
Okay,
out of here.
great.
Nick.
Okay, it's Mattel's hoverboard. It's the thing that after 25 years we're still talking about and wishing it existed.
It's product placement, not logo placement, though, right?
No, they're gonna make it. It's product. This chair's falling.
I made one the other day.
Yeah, no, it's the product we're still talking about. Everyone can't stop talking about it, and it's not only just product placement. It's one of the most iconic movie, like props in the history. It's like Indy's hat, John McClane's tank top, the DeLorean, and the hoverboard. It transcended product placement. It's an iconic object that we're still, after so many years, talking
Trisha.
about.
I'm going to go with the Reese's Pieces in E.T. How else do you catch an alien? And it makes it an even better product placement that M&M turned it down, and then Reese's Pieces profits went up by 65% after
It probably
doing it.
actually kept them in the business to this day because of that movie, intentionally, yeah.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, 19.
Blade Runner, the Geisha Coke ad on the side of the building. I mean, it just added so much atmosphere. It really brought me into that world. It made me believe that world. I love the Blade Runner world so much, and I want to live there. Like, I look like I could just pop in there right now, and I would totally fit right in there. So, yes, that's my deal.
Which of your projects helped save Doc Brown? Which of your projects helped save Doc Brown?
I'm gonna have to disagree with your argument strictly based on the fact that the hoverboard is not a product that they placed in a film. Mattel did place a
And you're
logo
shrinking.
on
I
a
know.
movie prop, but it was not product placement.
It's product placement for the company.
Did Mattel make it?
Mattel does have a prop replica hoverboard that
Yeah.
they make now.
Okay, cool.
And it is the year. We are in the year
Yeah,
that was.
2015.
It is so
We are
officially-
now, but at the time they made the movie, was that product placement? No, it was not. It was logo placement.
Was your product integral to the plot of the story?
Yes!
Stand the rest of the game?
Yes, the Reese's Pieces were integral to the plot of E.T. 100%.
To get him out of a hole. Like, it's what I do with my cat. It's just, here, take
It
keys.
began the whole
It could have been
friendship, my
keys.
friend.
It could have been keys.
No.
Wow, you're on your feet fighting this. I love
I'm
that.
not that tall. Yeah.
Man.
Reese's Pieces were introduced in 1978, and E.T. is kind of credited with launching it into a broader.
Oh, interesting.
public
It was the
consciousness.
launch.
So the most effective product
That is an
placement.
effective
That
launch.
is effective. That is effective.
It's
I gotta
the
say, I gotta give it to Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, like,
It's too easy there. I feel like you both have good points, but man, that really did keep Reese's around. That was we have a new chair.
Oh, new chair!
excellent.
For time's sake of time, we could argue that, but I don't know. I think it's Reese's Pieces. If that in fact is true, Trisha's on the board. It's 2, and 19 has 3.
Woo!
So it's
Go,
our
girl.
last round. Well, I guess we'll have to do a tiebreaker if someone else wins other than her to see who goes through. So
Okay.
a lot on the stake here. Round 7 before our speed round. This question's tied to this week's Honest Trailer, which is a film we probably wish had bombed because we had to watch a movie with someone named Zart in the movie. That's your clue. There's a person named Zart in this week's Honest Trailer.
Okay.
And if you watch the screenies for this year, you'll find out.
Yeah,
what
there you
it
go.
is.
If you'd like to not watch the movie and you want to watch the screenies, we will give you the answer in the screenies. That good call, Dan. That's the way they click 2 things.
It's called cross promotion.
Synergy. At FilmFan WA asks, what film do you wish had bombed? Which is an interesting question. There's a lot of reasons we wish it would have bombed, and we're going to start with you, Trisha. Which movie do you wish would have bombed?
I wish that the Da Vinci Code would have bombed. Financially, it was a success, but the movie itself was horrible, and the book is so good. And because it was a financial success, it made them make Angels and Demons, which was another even worse movie, and the book is actually even better than the Da Vinci Code book. It was a travesty. I just wish it would have bombed so they would have stopped messing with Dan Brown's stuff.
19.
Transformers 4, hands down. I was shocked at this movie. I thought people would be done with it by now. I was like, oh man, I can't wait till this doesn't do so well and they can stop making these stupid ass movies. But no, it did like super great. And it's like, these movies are just ruining people's brains. It's devolving art. You know, I talk a lot about like making progress in art. This is like the opposite. I feel like it's damaging the industry. I feel like it's damaging people's brains. I just think it's just awful all around. And Transformers 4, get out of my face.
That's a very all valid points.
My
Nick.
movie not only had a myriad of terrible sequels, it also spawned, and the only one that spawned, an entire terrible genre, Twilight. If Twilight wasn't a success, we wouldn't have these cheap, terribly produced, cash grab movies, like young adult movies like Divergent and Maze Runner and all these terrible movies.
Hunger Games? That one's terrible, huh?
I like Hunger
Exactly.
Games.
Everybody loves Hunger Games. Without Twilight, we wouldn't have Hunger Games. Hunger Games is awesome.
And I don't think the success of Twilight was based on the first movie. It was based on the book series.
No, well, if that movie bombed, no one went to it, it wouldn't have created this terrible genre.
They would have still made those
and then
movies.
no one cares about Dan Brown books. No one cares about those movies. It did spin off. And you know what? The thing about Transformers, they may be god-awful, but at least they have some production values and, like, they put some money into it. These are just...
They put a lot of money
Yeah, and it
into
looks like garbage.
You know,
Floating piles of garbage.
These movies, Dan Murrell can edit and produce and do a better movie with Twilight with half the money than they're putting into these movies. They're terrible, cheap.
But Twilight
was going to be made no matter what.
No,
I don't know.
You've got little
Nice.
teenage
Trying to figure
hormones.
that
They
out.
don't care if that's a good
I
movie.
know,
They're
and-
going to go watch
and they're just
all of
stealing-
them, whether it bombs
Exactly,
or not.
that's what's wrong. And if they didn't do it, they wouldn't be just stealing these kids' money. They're just bad movies. They're terrible movies. There's like 12 of them, and they just keep pumping out.
Those kids are
shitty movies.
clawing over each other, screaming,
Twilight
"Take
is
my
over.
money!"
It's
Transformers is
not
never
over, because
ending.
you have Ender's
Like, it's
Game.
never
You have
ending.
Divergent. You have...
Ender's Game is awesome. It should be made
Transformers
into a
4
movie.
was
They
total
did. It was
crap.
terrible.
But the
Transformers 4 was total crap. I'm going to agree with you there, but there is an entire audience for the crap action genre. That's who that movie was
Yeah, but we
made
can make
for.
them better crap action, okay? Like, we can make them better crap action.
There's still an audience
You're
for
still
that.
talking about the movie no one cares about. You're still talking about only a section of movies. I'm talking about an entire genre that this movie created.
Yeah,
This
but
movie
some of
didn't
those
create-
movies out of that
That
genre
movie
are great.
didn't create it. The books created it.
Nope.
Yep.
Hunger Games.
Interesting. So I guess where I'm struggling is the genre you are combating against is loved by a lot of people, right?
But, okay, no. You know what? Hunger Games
Whether
is,
you like it or not.
Fair enough.
It's
I'm not
a
talking,
genre
I'm
that
talking
is
about,
successful
I'm not
for a
talking about the
reason.
story. I'm not talking about the storyline and like if it's a vampire and a girl. I'm talking about movies that are terribly produced, terribly shot, terribly directed, that are just cheap as hell to just steal money. I'm not talking about the storylines because the storylines, yeah, they're not for me, but I can respect them and understand them and why people would enjoy them. I'm talking about how they're so shoddily made. At least Transformers, it's produced and it's shot well. And Dan Brown's movie, They have real like a cast in it. These movies are just like, you know, Nickelodeon miniseries that are 90 minutes long. They're terribly made movies.
I agree with you that the movies are awful, but I don't think the first movie bombing would have stopped them from making the rest. I think the book series was so successful that they would make them all anyway.
It did huge.
So here's my problem. So I think you couldn't have stopped it. Whereas what I think we should have stopped and could have stopped is Transformers 4, which I don't believe any of us are going to argue.
There are people who love ridiculous money being thrown into a Hollywood film, even if the movie's awful. There are people who love crap action, and that's who
I know, but we can make
for.
better crap action. You know, like
You can make better young adult movies, and Hunger Games is showing that.
Yeah.
But the thing about Twilight is they said you can make really bad movies, but people are still going to go. But
I mean, Transformers 4, even though it has money, it's still a really bad movie.
But they at least put money into it. You can make a movie.
They're trying to argue that
should they have put money into it is where I'm struggling, because I think what she said at the beginning is a valid point of what's actually hurting our culture and our de-evolving us as a society. It's not Twilight. It's Transformers 4. That movie was a travesty. No.
If we're looking at what movie we wish would have bombed, which is the question, then we're looking why do we wish we would have bombed because of what might happen afterwards.
You just talked yourself out of winning.
No, I didn't.
With Dan Brown.
If Da Vinci Code bombed, they never would have made Angels and Demons.
Yeah, but you're just mad because you like the books and you just don't want to see the movies.
Your opinion is more personal based because I don't really care. I don't think any of us on this care about Dan Brown movies working.
Really, those books are so good.
It's a valid argument, and it's not about my opinion, but I just think the majority of people don't care about Dan Brown, whereas I feel like they do care about big budget summer blockbusters. Yes. That's the thing that's most important to all of us. Young adult, there's so many, we don't like them, granted, but a community likes them a lot, and it did make Hunger Games, and I think, but whereas Transformers 4 had that bombed, I think you're valid. It's Well, I'm answering that for you, so wrong, but it maybe made us rethink, okay, we have to actually pay attention to these big movies that we're throwing money into and not just give it to Michael Bay to make trap. So she gets the point. 19 gets the point.
I do personally also agree that Transformers 4 would have bombed.
I was so sad. Like all year, I was
they added the Dinobots and it tricked us all, and it didn't do anything. All right, so what that does is that actually, I'm realizing, puts us in a tie for second place.
Yeah.
Dan Murrell, can you help me with a tiebreaker?
I'm trying to look up some user requests for tiebreakers.
Do I get to judge now?
I pulled a couple. You just want me to pitch a couple to you?
Well, no, we got to do a speed round. Pick one. You're going to announce it. I don't know what this is. Right? I think, or do we want? Well, it'll be a little quicker than a speed round.
Okay.
Sure. Go ahead. We have to rush because we're almost out of time.
We were talking about 7, so let's talk about the best twist ending of all time.
Who? Did someone ask this?
Yes, this is a Twitter question.
Let's call them out.
Yeah. All right, let me find it. Hang on.
Can I answer?
Best twist.
This was
Empire Strikes Back.
Usual Suspects.
Leo McSweeney at Leo MacS76 on Twitter asks best.
And so Empire Strikes Back versus Usual. Oh wow. Okay, you each have one. Who wants to start? Who's ready? Sorry.
I'm gonna start out by doing kind of a neg and a pro at the same time. Empire Strikes Back. If you know that twist ending, it doesn't ruin the whole film for you. Usual Suspects. If you know what's gonna happen, if someone spoils that for you, it ruins the entire film.
Interesting take. And what's your take?
I just think it's the most iconic twist ending of all time. It's the one that created the twist ending in movies. It's the one that showed, took the story that was going this way and then just completely changed the trajectory.
Isn't that what every twist ending does?
Huh?
Isn't that what every twist ending does?
No, because your twist ending, it didn't change the trajectory of the story. It didn't change the elements. Yes, it was shocking, but it did not alter the story.
It totally altered the story.
It totally changed the entire
whole story was BS.
Thing.
I think for iconic, I Am Your Father is what completely changed what people thought was going into this saga and then went one way.
You can still enjoy the film if you have that spoiler.
I need to get some opinions on this because this is an important. 19 and Dan, thoughts on this on their arguments there? I have to say, my opinion is I think Trisha made a better argument, and you just said iconic.
And so
for that reason
guilty
alone,
of it too, Nick. I fall back on iconic, and
But we got to go with the debate, and I think Trisha just pulled it out, and I think it's going to be Trisha versus 19 in our final round. Woo! Wow. We were all unison. Go ahead and hate me, but I feel like that was the call to make there.
It's.
I love
Trisha
you.
gets the bonus point, puts her in the end. We have our speed round, which we're going to now plow through. Are you guys excited? Wow.
19, I'm a little terrified, to be perfectly frank. You're on fire today.
This is it. Now, again, the way this works, no cheating.
No cheating.
You have to answer first. This is it's sort of unfair, but that's how it works.
Can I just say, these two are very good.
This has been, you all were. This was a great episode. So you got to answer quickly. If you guys answer the same thing first, Whoever said it
said it
first
first wins.
gets the point. Makes sense how that rule works?
Quick question,
Yeah.
Andy, just so I can keep track as well. Is Trisha coming in with 3 points?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
Bring
it's
the
4
rest
to,
of
it's
the
4 to 3.
I'm the underdog going into this.
Yes, it's
All
4 to
right.
3 coming in.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Are we ready? Have any questions?
Sure.
Music's in. Round 1 of the speed round. Kick-ass or super?
Kick-ass.
Super, just so I get a chance to argue.
Kick-ass, why?
Kick-Ass is an amazing adaptation. It's a super, super, super fun comic book movie that also has a lot of violence in it, whereas I feel like the other one is not as fun and doesn't have that comic book funness that I don't see in a lot of comic book movies.
Trisha?
I'm sorry, I got nothing. Kick-Ass
right.
totally wins.
I
That
disagree.
happens.
I disagree.
That happens sometimes. All right. So she's on the board. It's not over yet. Round 2. Best movie with American in the title.
American Beauty.
All I can think of is American Idiot, and that's a musical.
5 seconds. She's out.
All I can think of are crappy movies.
American Pie, American Sniper, American Pie Beta House.
American Pie Beta House.
Can I jump in?
American Werewolf in London.
Stop stroking your
I think
nose.
she gets one more shot, right? She's got to win these 3, or she
Oh
already
my
out?
god.
She's got.
Am I already out?
I think she's got to take.
You got to
these
win these 3.
Okay.
To force
To
the
tie.
tie.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
Exactly.
Ready? Best Hollywood Jennifer.
Jennifer Aniston. Ooh, not what I meant to say.
Jennifer Beals.
Wait, can I change my answer? It's not Jennifer Beals?
Don't!
What? No, fight for Jennifer Aniston. What are you doing?
She's super hot. She's super funny. She's had a really, really long and successful career, better than Jennifer Beals.
Jennifer Beals. I don't know what the fuck to say about her. I don't know.
Jennifer Aniston wins.
Let it be known I didn't say the first F word today.
That was me. They got me. It's the speed
All right,
round. It's
so
like
you gotta- now just hold
I
these
can't
two.
control myself
Ready?
here.
This is
I don't know
intense.
what to do with my body.
Close. You got to win these, Trisha.
Okay.
Number 4. Best National Lampoon's Vacation sequel.
European Vacation.
Christmas.
Christmas. Everyone knows it's Christmas.
Christmas.
I'm
So scared right now. Can you tell?
Now,
I'm
you
like-
got to win this 3rd one.
I'm
really
sweating anxiety out of my
I could have won this
pores.
bonus round. I mean, you guys are great on the regular. I could have won this bonus
Oh
round.
my
right, ready?
god.
Both of these movies are playing on cable. Which should I watch? Speed 2 Cruise Control or Under Siege 2 Dark Territory?
Under Siege 2.
Under Siege 2.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, we're
Wow,
tied.
you tied it up! You came back from
Tied
the
it up.
back!
So what is
Wait,
there?
I don't
Another
have
tiebreaker?
tiebreaker here.
Last
I
question.
don't. Do you want? Here, I've got the Twitter feed up here.
I'll ask you a question.
We got a Twitter feed. Sorry. Wow. Twitter. Wow, we're going.
Oh
You
my
see how
God.
important it is to come to Twitter?
Oh my god. I'm dying on the inside right now,
We
P.S.
make sure we prepare more questions next
Yeah, we
time.
should-
Sorry.
I got one.
He's got one.
No.
Or not.
Andy's like, it's my show.
Oh man, this is so. I mean, we look so unprepared. Okay, ready?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
This comes from Eric Sabio. What was the last good movie with Bruce Willis?
Death Becomes Her.
No. No.
Hurry
The
up.
Last Die Hard.
Okay, why? Which one? With the
No,
last Die
no,
Hard?
Give him another question. No, I can't wait.
It's over. It's over.
Well, it's depend. You each get a sentence.
I'm gonna go back to what I was
Becomes
saying
Her
about.
way long ago. Why that?
Death Becomes Her is one of my favorite Bruce Willis roles because he's never done anything like that ever again, and he's so good as this simpering little weirdo where he's like not trying to save the world, which I love. He did such an amazing job, and that movie is ridiculous. I am so sad that I didn't write that movie.
Good Day to Die Hard. Why is that as bad as his last good movie?
As I was saying before, people just absolutely love crap action, and no one does it better than Bruce Willis. That's where he shines. That's his thing.
You just lost.
Death Becomes Her gets the win. That Comic Book Girl 19 takes the crown today.
GG.
No one can ever say Good Day to Die Hard win to anything unless it's a bad category, right? And we all
I'm
agree.
sure there's better Bruce Willis ones. That's
Looper?
my favorite one.
Looper?
Oh, Looper.
Looper
you had it,
wasn't
you
that
had it.
great.
You
No,
lost it.
Looper's really
No, here's the
good.
thing. I couldn't think of a
Looper's
worse.
really
No, the movie's great. I couldn't think of a worse answer than that.
And then you did it. Well, that was fascinating. That was really intense.
my
Guys,
goodness.
thank you so much, all of you. What a fun game, right?
These two.
This was
This was
awesome.
really fun.
Yes.
That was really
super
intense.
sweaty
We will
hands,
make sure we do better time prepping
I
those
actually
questions at the end.
respect my opponents.
Yes. Oh, wow.
that's
Unlike
nice.
Roger Barr, you're saying.
No.
your mortal enemy of the show.
This was so much fun.
What did you guys think? Tell us in the comments. Who did you like the best? Who should come back? What fight should we ask next? Ask us in the comments below or hit us up on Twitter. I want to thank everybody here. Obviously, make sure to check us out on iTunes. Please check out the Popcorn Talk Network, YouTube Popcorn Talk Network, and the Schmoes Know Network, Schmoes Know Podcast. Check them all out. We love these guys. We love everything they do. Links are in the description below. I want to thank our panelists. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Trisha Hirschberger at That Girl Trish. Is that the best way?
That girl Trish, no I in the girl.
Anything you'd like to promote or tell our fans to
Sure. You can check me out on videos every single day on youtube.com/sourcefed or youtube.com/sourcefednerd. Also on my own personal channel, youtube.com/nerdychick5.
Wait, it's That Girl Trish without an I in the girl?
Yeah, so it's that girl
I think
Trish,
we have it written on
GRL.
screen wrong.
That
correct?
GRL
So
Trish.
we wrote it on screen wrong. So everyone, as an apology, please go follow her because we screwed up. And if you're watching
That
this point,
GRL
go follow
Trish.
because we have had the wrong Twitter.
That girl Trish is somebody else who hates
Just
me.
fixed. Next to her, Comic Book Girl 19. Wow, you came, you slayed, you beat Nick Mundy. That's a big.
I'm very honored.
Girl, you were
CB Girl
awesome.
19 on Twitter, correct?
Yes, I'm at CB Girl 19. Comic Book Girl is taken; they won't give it to me, and it sucks. So yeah, you can
Also on
follow me
YouTube.
on there. I'm also on YouTube on Comic Book Girl 19, and you can go to my website comicbookgirl19.com. I also have a really awesome hot cosplay calendar available right now on my website.
Did you just release
I didn't
that?
know.
I did. I
You have
did.
to come back to defend your title, and you'll have to bring the calendar. Nick Mundy up next. At Dick Fundy, of
At
course.
Dick Fundy, my series with Chris Jericho comes out on Comedy Central February 23rd, and my cosplay calendar where I'm Reginald L. Johnson from Die Hard.
I would buy that. Let's make that. Can we do that Screen Junkies calendar? And as always, the recurring champion, returning, well,
Kind of.
Yeah.
But yes,
got
you
his
are
belt
the
over there.
undefeated champion, Dan Murrell on the Dan Cam.
She
Nick,
is
you
going
just
to.
got Rocky 3'd.
Yeah, I know. She is going to kick your ass. She is going to beat the hell out of you.
Please follow me on Twitter as well at Andy Signore. Tell us what you like, what you didn't like, what you want to see next. And thank
scared.
you so much for
I
coming.
look forward to
Have
it.
a great Sunday.
Bye, guys.
Be scared.
Every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this kick-ass graphic listing all the topics your favorite Screen Junkies podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast battle royale. Go ahead, try them all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Junkies on YouTube to join us for future fights. Or if you prefer to listen on iTunes, click the logo to download an audio version. Lastly, please support our friends at the Popcorn Talk Network for more awesome shows.